It's 1908. A young journalist walks into the steel empire of Andrew Carnegie, one of the richest men in the world at the time. He's nervous, notebook in hand, not knowing that this meeting will change the course of his life, and eventually, the lives of millions. That journalist? Napoleon Hill. Carnegie gives him an unusual challenge. If you're willing to spend the next 20 years of your life interviewing the most successful people in America, I'll open every door for you, but you won't get paid a cent. What you'll gain is worth more than money. Hill took the challenge. Over the next 2 decades, he interviewed over 500 of the most successful people in history. Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Theodore Roosevelt, Alexander Graham Bell, Charles Schwab, and distilled everything he learned into a philosophy anyone could follow. The result was a set of 13 timeless principles of success. And I promise you, if you take these principles seriously and apply them, you will not just make more money, you will become the kind of person success can't resist. So let's dive in. 1. Definiteness of purpose. Your personal North Star. Imagine walking into an airport and saying, "I'd like a ticket, please." The agent asks, "Where to?" You say, "Oh, I don't know. Just send me somewhere." That's how most people live their lives. They wake up, go to work, pay bills, but they have no clear destination. They let the winds of chance decide where they end up. Napoleon Hill discovered that the people who achieved extraordinary results always knew exactly what they wanted. They had a definite chief aim, one big goal that drove all their actions. Think about Elon Musk in the early days of SpaceX. People laughed at the idea of colonizing Mars. But Musk had, and still has, a laser-sharp purpose: make humanity multiplanetary. Every decision he makes is filtered through that purpose. Hill's advice: write down your exact goal. Make it measurable, specific, and time-bound. Read it every morning and night. Live it. Breathe it. Think about it until it becomes part of you. 2. Mastermind Alliance. The power of collective brains. Henry Ford was a visionary, but he didn't know everything about engineering, finance, or logistics. He surrounded himself with people who did. Hill called this the mastermind principle. When 2 or more people work in harmony toward a definite purpose, they create a third mind, an invisible force that multiplies their potential. Think about Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. Jobs had the vision and marketing genius. Wozniak had the technical brilliance. Alone, they might have been successful. Together, they built Apple and changed the world. In your own life, build your mastermind. It can be as simple as a small group of people who meet once a month to share goals, ideas, and challenges. With one rule: you're all committed to each other's success. 3. Applied faith. Believing before seeing. Napoleon Hill didn't mean faith in a purely religious sense. He meant an unshakable belief in yourself and your goal before the evidence shows up. The Wright brothers believed humans could fly when the scientific consensus said it was impossible. They had no proof, no blueprint, just a belief so strong they were willing to crash over and over until they proved themselves right. Applied faith is the engine that keeps you going when results haven't shown up yet. It's waking up every day acting like your goal is inevitable. And the irony? That belief changes how you behave, which changes your results. 4. Going the extra mile. The law of overcompensation. Hill noticed a strange pattern. People who gave more value than they were paid for eventually got paid far more than they gave. Take Jeff Bezos in the early days of Amazon. He obsessed over customer experience, shipping books faster than expected, personally answering customer emails. That extra mile thinking turned a small online bookstore into one of the biggest companies in history. The majority stop at good enough. If you make it your standard to always give more than expected, you immediately stand out in any field. 5. Pleasing personality. The currency of influence. Hill found that technical skill opens doors, but personality keeps them open. Think of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Is he the best actor in Hollywood? Probably not. But his charisma, authenticity, and the way he treats people make him one of the most bankable stars on the planet. A pleasing personality isn't fake charm. It's developing habits like listening deeply, remembering names, smiling genuinely, and treating everyone with respect. These small actions compound into massive goodwill over time. 6. Personal initiative. Be the fire starter. The difference between average and exceptional is often initiative. Hill said, "The person who waits for someone else to tell them what to do will always have to take what's left after others have chosen." Think of Howard Schultz. He didn't invent coffee shops, but he saw what Starbucks could be, bought into it, and transformed it into a global empire. Personal initiative is seeing an opening and moving before you're asked. 7. Positive mental attitude. The lens you see through two people can face the same problem. One calls it a disaster, the other calls it a lesson. When Thomas Edison was told his lab had burned down, destroying years of work, he said, "Thank God all our mistakes burned up. Now we can start fresh." A positive mental attitude doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means looking for the seed of benefit in every situation. And Hill swore this was one of the biggest differentiators between the successful and everyone else. 8. Enthusiasm. Your energy. Signature enthusiasm is magnetic. It draws people, opportunities, and resources toward you. Think of Richard Branson. His excitement about every venture, from airlines to space travel, is contagious. People want to be part of it. The secret? You can't fake enthusiasm for long. It has to come from working on something you believe in. 9. Self-discipline. The gateway to freedom. Without self-discipline, every other principle collapses. Hill defined it as controlling your thoughts, emotions, and actions. It's saying no to short-term temptations in favor of long-term rewards. Michael Jordan didn't become the greatest basketball player by talent alone. He became great because he was the first to arrive at practice and the last to leave, day after day, year after year. 10. Accurate thinking. Separating fact from fiction. In a world drowning in information, accurate thinking is priceless. Hill taught that you must separate facts from opinions and base decisions only on verified truth. It's the difference between chasing hype stocks because everyone's talking about them versus studying the fundamentals and making a decision based on real data. 11th. Controlled attention. Focus creates power. Hill noticed that highly successful people had an almost obsessive ability to focus on one thing until it was complete. Warren Buffett calls this the 20-slot rule. If you could only make 20 investments in your lifetime, you'd choose very carefully and stick with them. Controlled attention means ignoring distractions and pouring your energy into what matters most. Your definite chief aim. 12th. Teamwork. Multiplying your effectiveness. Teamwork isn't just about working well with others. It's about aligning with people whose strengths complement your weaknesses. Think of the Apollo 11 moon landing. It wasn't just Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. It was 400,000 people working in sync toward a single goal. Hill said teamwork turns individual effort into collective achievement. 13. Learning from adversity and defeat, turning setbacks into setups. Hill's life wasn't smooth. He faced bankruptcy, personal loss, and countless failures. But he learned to see each one as a stepping stone. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first TV job. Walt Disney was told he lacked imagination. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter saw the light of day. The difference? They didn't stop. They used adversity as fuel. Napoleon Hill's 13 principles aren't magic tricks. They won't make you rich overnight. But if you live them, if you make them part of who you are, you will be unstoppable. So here's your challenge. Pick one principle today. Just one. Practice it for 30 days. Watch how your mindset, your habits, and your results begin to shift. Because in Hill's own words, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve.